Yeah, but filibuster is what Bob Robb does during these. Oh, hi. This is Richard Relisser with columnist Bob Robb. And U.S. Senator Kyrsten Sinema is talking about being bipartisan by not supporting an end to the filibuster. But Bob, you have a different take on this, informed by some Senate history.
Yes, there's a distinction between a real filibuster, where senators seize the floor and talk endlessly to try to prevent a vote from occurring. That doesn't really thwart majority will. If the majority is willing to wait out a real filibuster, ultimately the majority can pass whatever it is that the majority wants to pass. In recent years, the real filibuster has evolved into a virtual filibuster. No one actually filibusters, but everyone assumes that one is going on. So before you can get to vote on the legislation, you've got to shut off debate through cloture, which requires 60 votes rather than a simple majority of 50 votes. The argument is that this creates bipartisanship, but I think the evidence is overwhelming that it instead promotes gridlock. That's what we've had.
And so it ends up being that the 40 have, well, I mean, the minority party in this case, in all cases, would have that much more power. What do you think would show bipartisanship by Sinema, or what's going to be her next test to show bipartisanship in your mind?
It is this gross abuse of budget reconciliation that the Democrats are considering and beginning to implement to evade the virtual filibuster. The way in which the budget process is supposed to work is that well before the end of the fiscal year, both houses are supposed to adopt a budget resolution that sort of sets the top line figures. Then appropriations are supposed to be done in accord with that larger picture budget resolution. It doesn't matter which party is in charge, that process is never followed. But if you are doing something to implement a budget resolution, that under Senate rules can be done by a simple majority. It evades the virtual filibuster. Well, we are in the middle of this year's federal government's fiscal year. It ends in September, we're in February. The appropriations have all been done. The deadline for a budget resolution was 10 months ago. There was never one adopted, but the Democrats are talking about adopting one, not for its actual purpose, which is to set the framework for overall appropriations, but simply to evade the virtual filibuster to pass Biden's COVID bill. To me, that's a more concrete test of bipartisanship. I mean, both parties have stretched the budget, ignored the budget process, stretched reconciliation, but this is a gross perversion of it. And I think a true commitment to bipartisanship means you don't go along with that.
Yeah, and I guess since we don't have the real filibuster of Jimmy Stewart, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington up all night, I guess if they did bring that back, we might see better ratings on C-SPAN.
Yes, and I think you would actually see compromise. I think the ability of the majority to pass things creates incentive on both sides to cut deals, rather than the minority feeling that if they stick together, they can block action entirely.
All right, well, I move that we've talked long enough. Good to see you again, Bob.
Good to see you.